Hello, everyone. Susan Gerbeck from Psychics Explain. Just written the Skeptical Inquirer article for Operation Banana Cream Pie with Suzanne Wilson in the Carefree Medium. So that is going to go to editorial hopefully today. But before I did that and sent it off and made it final, which is I need to I should cut it down a little bit, but I wanted everything in there, including the aftermath and what has happened with Suzanne Wilson after the podcast came out from Pretend. And one of the things that happened was Helping Parents Heal has released this video. It was from February 5th, I believe. And it's called Helping Parents Heal welcomed Mark Ireland and Farah Gibson to speak about Helping Parents Heal. And in this interview or this video, they're going to say that they're going to talk about the claim that I had made that I would not be surprised if some of the mediums were actually in the grief group, the Facebook grief group, and able to get information about membership there and so on. But according to Suzanne's small video that she released, it says that they're saying in this video that they're not. And okay, so they're not. It's still possible to hot read without being in the Facebook group for these people. Just saying it's possible that would be an easy way of doing it. And Helping Parents Heal didn't seem to be very aware that of hot readers. And so and let me just say that because I'm sure you can think about what I'm thinking about what the guardrails that the Helping Parents Heal do not have on their organization. So for them to have made a restriction for the mediums not to be in the Facebook group makes me wonder why they have that if they believe that the mediums are actually communicating with the dead. Why would it matter if they're in the Facebook group or not? But I don't know. Maybe they're going to make it clear. So I need to watch this video. And I only want to watch it one time. So I'm gonna have you watch it with me. We'll interrupt as we go. So the first person you're going to see on here is Elizabeth. And Elizabeth is one of the original founders of the group. And she mostly founded the group with, I believe, Mark Ireland, because Suzanne Wilson had gone to a yoga shop in Carefree, Arizona, and had given a reading to a yoga instructor who had the shop. And Suzanne gave the reading based on a photograph of a family that was sitting on a shelf. And why she would do that? Well, cold reading, right? All we know is a story that Suzanne has told multiple times. And I think Elizabeth has told the story also. So the yoga instructor knew nothing about psychic mediums because Suzanne wanted to rent out a part of the yoga shop. So this the yoga instructor went and contacted Elizabeth and said, "Oh my gosh, you're not going to believe this. This psychic came in here and she just gave a reading and it was all about your son who had died. I think his name is Morgan." And Suzanne was like, "Oh, okay, great." And Elizabeth's like, "Oh, wow, I'll come down and meet this lady." So she came down and she met Suzanne. And now that she's got all sorts of information, because Suzanne has just gleaned a lot of information from the yoga instructor who had no idea what to look for and didn't understand cold reading and so on. The story builds upon itself. And the next thing you know, Elizabeth is sold on this idea of life after death with mediumship to communicate with children that have died. Now, I don't know if I've heard Elizabeth say she didn't have a lot of experience with psychics before that or any. I can't quite remember. I mean, something like that. And so that's when they kind of bonded together to make the Helping Parents Heal organization with other people. It's a nonprofit. So I'm going to watch this video and maybe what I just said is incorrect. And we'll find out when we watch this video. But as I said, I only want to watch it one time and I'd like to have it on my channel so that everybody else can watch it if you want. This should talk a lot about the Helping Parents Heal organization, and I don't know what else, but I know that, I scanned through it really quick and I can see that there's lots of different people that are important to the organization that are going to talk. And let's see what they have to say. I'm open to that. So we'll listen to it together, and we'll just go from there and we'll see what happens. Okay, I'm going to get comfy and cozy, and you should probably do the same thing too.
Go ahead.
Our mission, Helping Parents Heal, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting parents whose children have passed. Through support and resources offered, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to one of hopefulness and greater peace of mind. Helping Parents Heal goes a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non dogmatic way. Helping Parents Heal affiliate groups welcome everyone, regardless of religious or non religious background, and encourage open dialogue. Attendance at this meeting is voluntary. We hope that participants will learn from and share with each other. Discussions here are not designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Zoom meetings run by leadership are not confidential. These meetings typically feature guest presenters and are posted on YouTube so that affiliate members worldwide can watch and benefit. Neither type of Helping Parents Heal meeting is designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers, allowing parents to learn about many possible ways to heal. This includes presenters covering progressive topics such as afterlife evidence and connecting with our children who've passed. The views expressed by our guest speakers may or may not reflect the opinions of Helping Parents Heal leaders and members, so we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're here with us this evening. Thank you.
Okay, so the first thing I probably should mention is that I'm happy to talk to the Helping Parents Heal organization. I'm happy to talk to any of these leadership. I know they're not going to be happy about what I would have to say, which would be that I find that the people that are members of the groups are very vulnerable, and they are experiencing some of the worst times of their life. Their children have died. And that I do not believe in mediumship. I do not believe it's possible to communicate with the dead. And if somebody wants to hold a belief in that, that's fine. Go for it. Also, I think that it shouldn't be outlawed. I don't think there should be restrictions on it. People should be able to do what they want if they're an adult. And, it is as it is. I mean, just like gambling or alcohol, it's can be fine in certain kinds of circumstances where it was very limited and it's not abused. And some people and lots of people gamble and lots of people use alcohol, and it's fine. It's just something they do. And I think the same thing with mediumship. So I'm probably very, very different from most of my skeptic friends, my peers, who probably would have a different opinion on mediumship. I just don't think you can regulate it because there's no way of testing it. So I'm happy to have conversations with people about mediumship, though I don't believe it's possible, and I do believe it's harmful. I mean, just like lots of other things are harmful, but I don't think we should be able to stop it. People should be able to do what they want. So they haven't reached out to me. I don't know if they will ever want to reach out to me. I guess I could reach out to them and ask if they want to have a conversation. I expect I will hear nothing back, but I don't know. Maybe I will. But they should know who I am by now, especially since Suzanne has asked them to remove her videos from their YouTube channel, or they're unlisted. So, I mean, how would that have conversation have happened unless Suzanne had said to them, can you hide these videos because I've got some evil closed-minded skeptic that is what would she say? I mean, how would she say that? I just need you to remove these videos or hide them from the channel just because, I mean, what? So obviously they must know there's something up. And because I know they're going to say in this article, this video that psychics don't have access, the psychic mediums don't have access to the Facebook group where the grieving parents are. So they must know something. So I'm happy to talk to you guys. If you guys ever want to talk to me, I don't think you're going to be happy with my uh my statements that it's impossible to communicate with the dead, and I don't think it's helpful to the grief process. But then again, I'm not a licensed therapist, and neither are you guys. So let's leave it to people who are more experienced, people with licenses and people with PhDs who know understand this, that maybe could explain the harm. I'm not going to have to do that. I think it's evident they wouldn't agree. But yeah, so if they were to reach out to say, and they actually really wanted to really think about what cold reading and hot reading is, then I would probably ask them to have a conversation about readings, how you can see if somebody's hot reading or cold reading. And I'd like them to supply me a video they think is a legitimate video of a reading and have them watch it. I'll watch it. I mean, I can transcribe it, give it back to them with the transcript on there, and we can go through and look at it together, maybe over a Zoom like this, even privately if they don't want to do that. I wouldn't want it to be something that was one of their providers, and I wouldn't want it to be one of their own readings, like they had a reading from somebody. But if they want to find a reading on the internet somewhere of somebody they don't necessarily endorse, and let's go through that reading together, and let's talk about what cold reading looks like, how you can tell when somebody's cold reading, how you can tell when somebody's hot reading, the different tricks that are used. And I'd be more than happy to go through that with them so that they'd have more education about what needs to be looked for. And maybe if they followed my channel, Psychics Explained, they would see that the harm is not obvious that's happening to these poor grieving people. It's implied, and the harm is, once you get into the world of these psychic mediums that are the lower level, like the ones they recommend, no name people, no TV shows, and just run-of-the-mill psychic mediums, is that in those worlds, what happens is a lot of manipulation is going on, financial manipulation and medical information. And you can see it all over my YouTube channel. And just, it's cruel. Not necessarily always their mediums. I haven't sat and gone through all their mediums yet, which I'm going to work my way through probably. The people that they may endorse, they're on their list of recommended readers. Some of the people come on their show and come on and do lectures, and they're not on the recommended readers. And as she said here, that the opinions and they may not agree with their opinions and so on. But you can see after all these readings, whenever they do readings, Elizabeth especially is like, "Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. That was great." And I'm like cringing, going, "That was some of the worst cold reading I've ever seen." And she's going, "Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much." I mean, I know she's being polite, but can she not see that it was horrible? And just, because she's coming through as a person of authority. She's the representative here on the screen. She's one of the main founders of the organization. So if she thinks it was great, the sitters who are watching these gallery readings don't know any different. They're in grief. They're not thinking as clearly as they would have before. I mean, this is an awful time for them. So if you've got people talking about how great it was, then they're going to think, I guess I didn't see what I just saw. Okay, let's continue, or we'll never get through this thing. I'm sorry. This is an hour-long meeting they're having, and I'm sitting here talking and talking and talking. But like I said, I only want to watch it the one time.
Yes, we are so glad that you're here with us this evening. And once again, I just want to say that we're thrilled to have Mark Ireland speaking with us this evening. Again, he is a co-founder of Helping Parents Heal, and also Farah Gibson, who's sitting in, who's such a huge part of Helping Parents Heal as well. And we're always thrilled when she can take time out of her evenings when she really doesn't have any time, free time, and spend some time with us. I wanted to just say that I'm going to introduce Mark to explain just a little bit about who Mark is and what he does with Helping Parents Heal. And I'm going to go back to my own story very quickly just to tell all of you that when Morgan transitioned at the base camp of Mount Everest in Tibet, and this was my second child, my daughter transitioned when I was in France when she was 2 days old. And then when Morgan transitioned in Tibet, I had a shared death experience with him, and I felt him hug me, and I knew that he was with me, and I knew that he was in an incredible place, but nothing that I had ever been through had really set me up for understanding what this was all about. So I was searching for other parents who had experienced the same thing, this incredible connection that I had with Morgan. And unfortunately, I met with quite a few parents who had written books about their kids and who were very interested in continuing the legacy of their kids, but the books were so sad and they didn't talk about what I was feeling, which was this incredible connection with Morgan. I realized that Chelsea had been there all along, ever since she transitioned when she was in France. And then I had this incredible experience, and that was that I, first of all, was practicing yoga at a yoga studio, and Suzanne Wilson went there about the same time, a week later, and she went in to see about renting a room there. And Suzanne Wilson is obviously one of our providers. She's incredible. She was the first person that I met on this journey who was a medium, but I didn't meet her that day. I wasn't at the yoga studio. I was actually at home. I wasn't going to practice yoga. I was climbing all the mountains around my house after Morgan transitioned. I didn't think I could go back to yoga. And when she got there, Angie, who is the person who owns the yoga studio, who doesn't believe in any of this, said, "Well, how do I check to see if you're for real?" And Suzanne said, "Well, do you have a picture that I can read?" And she got this holiday card that I had just sent with all of my kids on it out of a drawer. And she said, "How about reading this?" It just had the pictures of my kids, all three of them. And Suzanne immediately felt Morgan drop into the room. It was almost like this huge, enormous presence. And she gave all of these incredible validations to Angie, who, again, first of all, didn't believe in any of this, but second of all, didn't even know if any of what she was saying was true. So she said that I was going to get a rock that was split in half that came from the exact place that Morgan transitioned in Tibet. And of course, I didn't even get this rock until a month later, but it was a rock that was split in half that was brought by his roommate. She saw Morgan shouting from a mountaintop that he was okay, and it was through a megaphone. And he was a cheerleader at the University of Arizona, and the megaphone was given to us by the cheerleading team, and we had it at his celebration of life as well. She said that there was a band of 3 brothers, and he had 2 other roommates, and the 2 kids that were roommates actually stayed in Tibet and waited for my husband until he got there to be able to bring Morgan home. And it took quite some time because being able to get a Tibetan visa, even though he had a Chinese visa, was difficult. he didn't get there until 5 days later, but these kids were waiting for him and waiting with Morgan, which was incredible. But there were so many other validations. And Angie called me that night and she said to me, I had this person who applied to have space in my yoga studio. She wanted to rent a room, and I have no idea if any of this is true, but I'd like to have lunch with you tomorrow. And I said, what do you mean tomorrow? Tell me about it tonight. So she started telling me about these incredible validations. And I was so excited about this. And I knew that other people were out there who understood what I was going through, because Morgan was doing some incredible things in our house already at that time. So the important thing is that I couldn't get a reading with Suzanne Wilson because her husband was undergoing surgery. And so I wasn't able to until 2 months later. And by that time, I'd already created the Facebook group. I was already talking to other parents who were going through the same thing that I was going through. And when she finally came, the week before, she had been at mediumship fair, and she met Mark, who had just written an incredible book called Soul Shift, Finding Where the Dead Go. And it was about his son, Brandon, who is also a beautiful child who transitioned. Let me turn this light on very quickly. For some reason, it just went out. On a mountain as well. And this was in the McDowell mountain range. And the book itself, he ended up giving to Suzanne and signing it, because he said, oh, you're going to be speaking to this woman who also had a son transition on a mountain. I'd like for you to give my book to her. I read his book, and I finally understood that there were other people who understood exactly what I was talking about. And I was so excited about it. And I called him the next day and we had coffee, and Mark helped me to co-found Helping Parents Heal. He was our first speaker at our in-person meeting at Casa Mariposa, which was the first place that we met in Cave Creek. And he also is the son of a very famous medium who was a billet reader. And a lot of you might not even know what a billet reader is, but he was a medium to the stars in Hollywood, Richard Ireland. And Richard Ireland also wrote books about mediumship. He was way beyond his years, obviously, in being able to tell people about these things. And Mark is someone who, he and his wife, Susie, have been very close friends for a very long time. He unfortunately moved north, and so he's not here very often. But I do want to say that Helping Parents Heal would not be what it is today without Mark. And Mark set up a certification process for mediums to be able to make all of us understand that it's possible to move forward and heal. And having all of these incredible mediums who work with us has allowed so many parents to be able to understand that their kids are still right here, understand that we can communicate with them, that we have a connection with them that is something that will last until we meet with them again. And I am so grateful to him, and I'm grateful to Farah and to all of these people who make all of our lives worth living. Because seriously, if I wasn't able to know with certainty that Morgan and Chelsea are with me every single day, and I know that Irene feels the same way about Carly, every single one of us feels that way, we wouldn't want to be here. We'd want to be with them. And they don't want us to be with them. They want us to finish what we're supposed to do here. And they want us to spend our lives here helping others, reaching a hand back and pulling them forward, which is something that all of us love to do, because it helps us even more than it helps the person that we're able to guide forward. So anyway, plus our kids are all friends. They're all happy, healthy, and home, as Mark's wife Susie always says. And we're still in school. We're still here to learn something very important. and we signed up for this. Even though we don't believe this, we can't believe that this is something that we would have signed up for. We did sign up for it. So without further ado, please join me, Irene, and Farah in welcoming Mark Ireland. Welcome, Mark.
Well, I'm glad I listened to that. Now, I've heard this story multiple times, and I started, as I explained it to you, that I've heard Suzanne tell this story of the foundation of Helping Parents Heal and how she got started. There's just too much there, and I am not going to rip into this woman's world. Anybody who's watching my channel, who's watched, all these videos I explain everything about why it is that Elizabeth has just recounted a story that seems impossible for somebody to have told that story without actually being a medium. And we all know what's really going on here. And it is heartbreaking to me that it's obvious what's going on in what Suzanne did, how she did it with this yoga person, and how the story got relayed over to a very, very motivated sitter. This is a very motivated mother whose life mission, her whole life now, is to do what she's doing. And I don't think she's ever going to listen to somebody like myself or watch any of my videos or understand, because I think it'd probably break her. It would probably break her. And it's probably not a good idea for her to associate with me or to have any kind of conversations or watch any of my videos. Absolutely not. So the other thing I have to say, which I face palmed, oh my gosh, when she said billet, he was a billet medium. He did billet work. I can't even. Elizabeth has no idea what she's talking about here. She doesn't understand billeting is it's a mentalist trick. It's a trick. It's like saying it it's a trick. It's like saying, I guess, oh, and his father was this wonderful medium and he was so amazing. He was a surgeon. He would cut women in half on stage and then put them back together again, and there was no blood. I mean, it's just about that credulous. And we're all looking at it like, yeah. No, billet work is just, it's a magic trick. It is how the old carnies used to do mentalism. And if anybody's read the book or watched either of the movies called Nightmare Alley, you'll see exactly what's going on. It's a trick. I I don't want to go into it. My mentalist friends are going to be like, Susan, don't be exposing how we do mentalism. But it is a trick. There's books on it. There's videos on it. It's one of the main, there's a lot of different ways of doing billet work, but one of the main ways, more common, is called one ahead. It's a trick that magic it's done in the magician's world, mostly in the mentalism world. The world of mentalism, which my partner, Mark Edward, was in for decades as a mentalist and wrote the book, Psychic Blues, Confessions of a Conflicted Medium. Him and I were together for 15 years until his death last year. And we went to mentalist conferences, and I know people who've written books on billet work and performed billet work. And I don't, I just don't even know where to go with this. It's better for me just to shut up, I guess. And let's continue with this because, again, I don't want to be here all day. So let's listen to Ireland, whose father was a billet worker, medium. He's doing carny work. He's a carny in the circus. The people who are like, come on over, we're a nickel. I'm going to show you, And here she is, and she's going to go out into the audience with a piece of paper, and they're going to go and they're going to write your message on the paper, and up here and put it in the big basket. And then the basket, everything gets burned in the basket. And he pulls out the paper and he puts it on his forehead. And I'm getting somebody who's there who's been sick lately, and they're still at work. Okay. Stop, Susan. Stop, Susan. Okay, here we go. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Thanks, Elizabeth. That's quite an intro. I think back to when we first met, and I remember it very, very well. And really the formation of what became Helping Parents Heal and the reason for it. Because I remember you telling me how you had gone to other meetings of bereaved parent groups and found it to be rather depressing. It was a situation where folks were just
Okay, I have to stop really quick because that thing behind his head is really distracting me. It looks just like I have two or three here at the house. They're magic vessels, magic vases, and the magician or mentalist would take and they'd pour water out of the magic vessel. And I'm sorry, that's exactly what that looks like. I don't know if it was owned by his father or it might be just a regular vase, but I'm totally distracted by that thing behind his head because that looks just like a magic thing. Okay, just saying, just okay. Going back. Sorry, everybody.
kind of dwelling on what had happened and didn't really have a path forward. So, we realized pretty soon that early on that there was no group like what we became, one that would allow discussion of spiritual experiences and for people to look into these things and talk about them, whereas in other groups they tended to shut them down. So I think what I wanted to share is a few things. I'll get into my certification program too, but just that, we're here to help you. Each one of us that's in leadership has had a child pass, so we can relate. We know what it's like. We've been through it. So if someone hasn't, it's not quite the same. They can be kind or try and do their best to offer comfort, but it's just not the same thing. So each of us has found healing, and we want to share the things that helped us, both from our individual perspectives, but also having a framework in HPH that provides resources for you and an opportunity to meet other people who have been through the same thing. And as Irene alluded to in the opening statement, it is a non-dogmatic organization. We're not affiliated with any religious domination. We just serve as a platform of information and resources people can freely take or leave. We don't espouse a specific belief system, as an organization. We each could share our own thoughts and our experiences, and that's what kind of separates us from the other folks. And then, as time has gone on, we've sought to provide more and more resources and to vet those resources to make sure they're credible and provide healing for you. And they're somebody you can rely on. And that would include the speakers that we bring in, not just the mediums, but we have a lot of them who have been certified to join as providers, but also, other speakers. Like I know we've had Pim van Lommel, who's an expert with near-death experiences. I don't know if we've had Dr. Mary Neal on here, but I know she's been at our conferences, and other folks to talk about all kinds of evidence for the various forms of evidence that we do carry on. We're not just a body and a brain. Consciousness is something else. We're here in this body and this brain now, and our consciousness works through it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's all there is to who we are. So I thought I'd first talk a little bit about what I call the 5 pillars of healing. And this is something that I put together based on what I've seen through the organization's early days and people that would come through in a really dark place. And after time, see them exit or remain with us, but in a much more uplifted state, a happier state of mind, able to experience joy again and move forward with a productive life. It's very rewarding to see that. So those to break it down, the first pillar is for people to have support from friends and family. And unfortunately, that doesn't always work because There are some dysfunctional families out there, but that's a real plus if you have that kind of support from a family and friend group. Second pillar is to meet and become friends with people who have been through the same thing. And we could really help with that because when we have our meetings and things, it brings people together. And even online, people have an opportunity to see who else is out there and to connect with them. Again, if you haven't been through it, you can't understand. So that's a big plus. The third one is service, and that would be to when you're emotionally at a point in your life where you've recuperated sufficiently to get involved with something where you can serve others. Because when you give, it comes back to you. I've found that time and again. So that could be anything. It could be a lot of parents, if a child passed from cancer, they might set up some sort of foundation to raise money for a certain type of cancer or whatever disease the child had, or some people start affiliates, HPH affiliate locations at in other cities and states and countries because we are worldwide now. So the service piece, when you're ready, again, somebody's not going to be at that position probably, in the first month or two, but down the road, it is an important factor. The fourth one is to let go of feelings of guilt, but also forgive people who you may hold responsible for your child's passing. That could be a doctor or someone who was driving a car or something like that. I'm not saying that's easy, but that burden is held to you if you can't give that sense of forgiveness and forgive yourself too. A lot of parents will say, I should have done this, I could have done that. When in reality, there's not much we control in this world. So to blame yourself is not the right way to go, and you have to let that go. And I think that's a key to healing because the people that can't move past that, whether it be anger directed at someone else they hold responsible or just self-guilt, I've seen them linger in that stage for a long, long time and not show improvement, not get better. And then the fifth pillar is hope. And the hope element is what we're talking about now. What is the evidence that consciousness survives physical death and we're more than a body and a brain? And it comes in many forms. We talked about near-death experiences. Most of you are familiar with the concept. It's been pretty the population's been well educated about it, especially over the last 10 or 20 years. And then you have the reincarnation research that was done by like Dr. Ian Stevenson at the University of Virginia. You've got the deathbed experiences where people will, when they're near passing, they will see loved ones and talk, report conversations that they have with those folks right in front of other loved ones that are there. And the most interesting ones are where they'll say, "Oh, I see this person and my cousin Jenny." And they'll say, "Well, Jenny hasn't passed." And lo and behold, Jenny, who lives somewhere else, they find out later on that she had indeed passed. The news just hadn't gotten to them yet. Deathbed visions, they call those. And then the mediumship work, which is, from my perspective, it's telepathy with someone who's passed. We know telepathy works. It's been tested by J.B. Ryan at the Duke University Parapsychology Lab and statistically validated over a course of a 40-year program that he ran. And so why wouldn't that work with someone if their consciousness still exists and still goes on, and maybe it's just a different frequency of vibration or a different dimensional reality that they're in? Telepathy seems the most likely, but mediums get information in a variety of ways. I know Farah is one of the best I know, and it can be very, very vivid for her, actually seeing outside of herself. A lot of them, it's more in their mind's eye, or feelings that come to them, or words, phrases, and things like that. So there's a wide range of how people get the information. But the mediumship can be tremendously healing. That's what I found in my own personal life, having grown up with someone who did that and seeing that from a young age, it gave me confidence. And when my son passed, it was a healing balm for me just to know that and think back and reflect upon that. And later to kind of go on my own journey and look into the field and understand it at a deeper level and meet some top people that did that, have my own readings, and then eventually decide to put together a program to vet them so that after Soul Shift came out, like Elizabeth mentioned, I was flooded with people asking, "Oh, who's a good medium that I can meet?" Well, at that time, I knew maybe half a dozen, but they were pretty much celebrity type mediums, and they had long wait lists, and their price ranges were, some worked for some people and some didn't work for others. And I thought, there have to be more people with this ability that are just lesser known. So I put the word out that I was going to do this. I built protocols for testing with some friends of mine, Tricia Robertson, who's with the Scottish Society of Psychical Research, and then also Dr. Emily Williams Kelly, who worked at the University of Virginia Division of Perceptual Studies. She actually had me participate in a mediumship research study she was doing, and then later I kind of modeled a lot of what I did on that. And it's evolved over the years too. I think I've gotten it more highly refined, better and better. But today, essentially, what happens is someone will ask to become a provider either for HPA.
Okay. Let's just stop for a second before he gets into the certification process, because he said a lot here. And I'm really having a hard time still understanding how this man's father was a mentalist magician and let his son believe that he was actually communicating with the dead as a medium. How did he not get that his father was really not doing that? I mean, how do you grow up and you're with that father and it never occurs to you that dad's a magician? Okay, whatever. The evidence that they're giving for telepathy and other things is juvenile. It's been discredited as Leon Times. The Rhine Institute, seriously? This is just low level evidence that is not, I you guys are probably on the other end watching this going, oh dear, this is not good stuff. Okay, this is like in the world of science, scientific skepticism, this is the stuff he's talking about are like junior high level stuff. It's really not near life experiences. Oh, that people, of course, people when they're dying, they're they're going to see visions and all kinds of things like that, and then they say that they saw somebody there. Of course, hello, that's our brains at work, our powerful, amazing brains. And when you're dying, all kinds of things happen. I mean, when Mark died, the conversations he was having were incredible, trains going by, and just it was wonderful in a lot of ways to see how amazing our brains work. And he didn't seem to be suffering. He was just having wonderful statements. And I this, I mean, okay, trying to don't laugh, Susan, don't laugh. The story he gave about somebody who said, oh, did he say Joan or Judy? Joan is here, and they're like, no, Joan isn't here, she's not here, Joan hasn't died. And then only later they find out that she has died, and that's like a ghost story. Okay, that's one of those things that people say in ghost stories, and I've got probably 400 or 500 books of Victorian ghost stories and here in the house because Mark collected them. All the spiritualism stuff, you can't even imagine how many books I have and articles and videos on spiritualism, especially back in the day when it was kind of starting out in the 1800s. Yeah, no, none of this is real. It's all relied upon. It sounds like they're just relying on faith, a belief, challenge nothing, assume competence of everything. And any story you hear sounds like it could be legit because we're not going to challenge it. Everybody, it's open to everything and all experiences. And though they want dialogue, I don't think they're going to want any kind of critical dialogue at all. I don't think that's going to be something they're going to be happy with. So yeah, so now he's going to get into the certification of how they certify this mediums. Good Lord. I bet Gary Schwartz is going to get mentioned in here somewhere. And Gary Schwartz is a PhD professor. He has tenure, which is why he's still in the University of Arizona, who's got, wow, he's not well respected in the world of science, but because he has a PhD, the Psi community, PSI, Psi community, that's what this is. As I'm gesturing to the video that you can't see on the screen that's next to me. The Psi community is constantly pulling out Dr. Gary Schwartz. They always have to have Dr. Gary Schwartz. It's interesting. So I don't know if he's going to say it or not, but I wouldn't be shocked as evidence of how he's certified mediums and stuff like that. No, he's the same guy who's working with Albert Einstein and Tesla. Seriously. These days, I think it's been going on since 2012 to create a soul phone, SOUL. And there's a video up on my YouTube channel of Suzanne talking about the soul phone. And no, it's not like, hey, you call and you pick up the phone and somebody's talking to you like with soul, no, not like that. It's a program they're trying to do. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a physical phone, but what they're working on is trying to get it so that you can call up your loved ones who are just like on the other side there, just right there, and contact them. And then you guys can talk about like, what's for dinner that night and what the dog did today. It was really funny, and have those conversations, because in this world of the Helping Parents Heal world, death is not really death. It's just a waiting area where everything is wonderful and you're just waiting to go and visit, be with them yourselves. But don't go too soon, because then we would get sued for people actually leaving and checking out because we led them to believe that the world is perfect on the other side. I don't think they've thought that far forward, but anyway, scary beliefs these people have, but okay, they're adults. Let's see how they certify these mediums. I'm dying to know. Get it. Never mind. Sorry, bad joke.
Or just to get on my website for certified mediums, and then I share the protocols with them. And what that consists of, basically, they have to conduct 4 blind readings on Zoom with no video for someone they don't know. They're given a first name, and really that's it. And through the course of that, we measure, all the statements that are made, and those are actually graded by the sitter. The recipient of the reading is the one that's grading it. And so they're marking each statement as either correct or incorrect or indeterminable. It's easy enough to know if it's correct or incorrect, but an indeterminable might be like a prediction, kind of like the thing Elizabeth talked about with the split stone. Hadn't happened yet, could happen, but I don't know, so that would be marked indeterminable. And then, so there's accuracy is one part. That's the accuracy part. And then there's the evidence part. So I've shifted it more to the evidence than just accuracy, because, for example, you could say, well, I believe you have a grandmother that's passed. Okay, well, I'm talking to somebody who's old enough, their grandmother probably passed. It's not rocket science. But if I say, I've got a grandmother who passed and she loved to bake apple rhubarb pie, and that happened to be correct, that would be evidential. So the evidential statements are the ones that really impact you the most. Elizabeth spoke about those earlier too, with her experience before she ever met Suzanne, with the megaphone, with the split rock and those kinds of things. So those evidential statements are graded and rated in there. And then the third piece of the pie is really the sitter's subjective reading. So they're saying, hey, this was a fantastic reading. I'm giving it, a 90 rating or 85 or whatever. So those 3 components come together. And I've raised the bar multiple times over the years just to make sure that we're getting people who have the ability at a high level because when you're dealing with grieving people, they're very fragile. I mean, a lot of you can relate to that, I'm sure. So that's why it's important that we have providers that are capable and are good at what they do. It doesn't mean you're guaranteed a good reading if you book one every time. Some mediums have good days and bad days. But more times than not, if we've gone through this process and we know someone's ability, more times than not, it's good, then the likelihood is good that they'll have a good reading.
Okay, so that was not a certification process. That was probably some of the worst certification I have ever seen. So you're giving a reading, 4 readings to people who are sitters, and they're validating it with evidence of, just the kind of pie grandma might have made. That's evidence. They don't understand what cold reading is. And the worst person to judge the accuracy of a reading is the person who's getting the reading. Oh, goodness gracious. So you want somebody to certify your mediums? I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to allow them to read me multiple times over and over and over and over again. No, that can't happen. It's cold reading. This is cold reading. The only thing you're protecting the person from it by not knowing their name is hot reading, not cold reading. And though I have seen Thomas John do a reading with Brian Smith, who ran the event from Helping Parents Heal. Okay, Brian Smith from Helping Parents Heal. He did a double-blind study with Thomas John over Zoom. And Thomas John completely read everything about the sitter. It was extraordinary, the amount of hits he got and how he did it. And I have it up on my channel, how he did it. It was so extraordinary. All he had was a woman's first name. He did see her on screen. I mean, it wasn't turned off, but that really wasn't going to make any difference. Thomas John's a hot reader. So what I did is I turned on the Zoom screen out. I've got the video in front of me. There's a few minutes, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, whenever that isn't recorded beforehand. So somebody's sitting on the screen, and Brian is supposed to be working as the watching everything, make sure nothing happens. And he says, here's your sitter. Her name is Fran. I think it was Fran, Fran. And you don't know her, and she doesn't know you. And we're going to get started in a couple minutes. Is everybody ready? And, they don't hit the record button yet. So there's several minutes where that happens, just like with Tyler Henry. Absolutely. Camera's not turned on yet. So, maybe somebody says, I got to go to the bathroom first, or let me get a drink of water, or let me settle the dog, or the whatever, give me a couple minutes. So there is a amount of time, and it does not take more than maybe 2 or 3 minutes, especially if you're the medium and you have done this a lot of times. And what Thomas John, I know he must have done, because I did it myself, is you pause the video. The sitter's name is Fran, and Brian Smith. They were friendly. He says they're not friends anymore. Or, we've had conversations. He refuses to unendorse Thomas John. He just like this. He's blocked me now because he doesn't want to have any conversations about Thomas John. And I get it, because he's one of these Helping Parents Heal parents whose daughter has died, and he's in conversation with her all the time. Okay. So there's no way you can reach those people, just FYI. So what I did, pause the video, went to Brian Smith's Facebook page. There I am. I'm on Brian Smith's Facebook page. Go to his friends list, which is open, and I type the word Fran, Fran. Nothing comes up. Nothing comes up. Nobody on his friends list named Fran. You can go to his social media posts, and there's a little search bar on Facebook. You can type the word Fran in there. Okay, well, I didn't do that, but you could do that and see if it comes up in any previous posts. So then I went to his wife, Brian Smith's wife, who's linked on his Facebook page. Brian Smith, his wife, they're linked, clicked on his wife's name, went to her friends list, typed the word Fran in her friends list. I had Fran. Perfect. There's her photo. That's her. It has a first last name. Did a quick Google. I knew all about her daughter's death and how she'd been in a hospital. She'd been in surgery and she died, I think, under the surgeon, and Fran was trying to sue the hospital and the doctor and this horrible litigation and all kinds of content. It took me, I don't know, under 3 minutes. It really didn't take long at all because you don't need to know everything. You know the daughter's name within a couple seconds. I was on Fran's Facebook page within, because all I got to do is you go to Brian. It's not on Brian. Go to Brian's wife. There it is. Type in the word. There's Fran. Go click on Fran's Facebook page. And Fran is in such grief. She's got pictures of her daughter all over the place, and she's just talking about how she's got this litigation and her on and on. So it was simple. So that's how the test was done with Thomas John, and Thomas John went all over. Hey, everybody, I did this double-blinded, scientifically proven test. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. I mean, he was telling people, could you share this on your Facebook page? I have this in videos and articles that I've written for Skeptical Inquirer that document it with screenshots and everything. So you guys can go back and check. This is many years ago. But my gosh, that was a test. That was a test that Brian Smith, who is on the board of Helping Parents Heal, put together, thinking he was controlling for stuff, thinking he knew what he was doing. He had no idea what he's doing. That's not how you do a test. And Mark Ireland, this is a test. You bring them on. You give them just their first name, which is, as I showed you with the word Fran, wasn't difficult, but this is probably just cold reading. And then you got the people evaluating it who are getting the reading. Good gracious. Good gracious alive. You got to check out my videos on Operation Gobble Gotcha with Matt Fraser, who's a cold reader. And you can see, oh my gosh, the cold reading, how it looks super accurate until you transcribe it and you go back in and slowly evaluate it. And you can see it's just cold reading. It's just a trick. It's a trick, you guys. Okay, so far Gary Schwartz hasn't been mentioned. I'm disappointed. Let's see. What else is on here? We're almost halfway through, thankfully.
And again, these are set up so they don't know the person. They never met them. They have no way of doing any kind of research, which some skeptics claim those sorts of things take place. And along with this, I wanted Elizabeth and Irene to talk a bit about how we run the gallery readings and some of those things and the safeguards we have in place, because I think there's some misunderstandings about the credibility level that we have in place with those to make sure that folks can be confident in what's coming through. So I'm going to hand it back over to you two for a little bit to touch on that.
Well, I love what you've said so far. Thank you so much for giving us more information about how you do this certification process. And I also just wanted to say, let's see, I also just wanted to say that it's important for for everyone to know a little bit more about how the gallery readings are run. And one of the ways that you can learn more about that is, first of all, to listen to what Irene has to say, because Irene works so hard, first of all, to make sure that everyone that's in Helping Parents Heal is definitely a Shining Light parent, or a parent who's becoming a Shining Light parent, meaning that we are parents who have children in spirit. And that's important in a group, to be able to check out everyone who's coming into the group. We have so many people wanting to join Helping Parents Heal, but we are very, very careful about who we let in, because we want it to stay a safe place for parents and families to heal. And I think that we do a good job of that. I also think that the way that we ensure that the people who are attending the gallery readings and the mediums themselves are vetted is also very important. But maybe, Irene, you could tell a little bit more about how the gallery readings happen, exactly what we do to ensure that the people who are in the gallery reading, first of all, the mediums themselves, and maybe you can talk a little bit about, we do have these mediums who are parent recommended mediums for Helping Parents Heal. They're not just certified by Mark Ireland, they have to have recommendations from people in Helping Parents Heal. But tell us a little bit about how those gallery readings happen, because that's also something important.
Sure. First, I want to just, say to everyone that I have the utmost gratitude to both Mark and to Elizabeth for starting this amazing organization. I'm going to be 13 years since Carly went back home on February 17th. And that first year, I did not think I wanted to live, but I knew that I didn't want to die. So I was in a state of limbo. First book I read was Proof of Heaven by Dr. Eben Alexander, which led me to the group Eternia, where I found Mark's book, Soul Shift, Where the Dead Go. I reached out to Mark. He was very kind, introduced me to Elizabeth, and the rest is history. So again, thank you both so much for creating this amazing organization and space for all of us. And I'm so proud to be a member, a board member, and an admin in the group. So I start my
But you do a
day.
great job too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
we're also happy that you are.
Elizabeth and I start our day first thing in the morning. Usually it's a 2 hour time difference, 6 a.m. for Elizabeth, 8 a.m. for me. And we go over what's happened during the night. And then I begin my research, letting people into the Facebook group. We don't just allow members into Facebook group because you've said that you've had a child pass. We research every single person, and not just by what your Facebook profile says. I now have the added benefit of having some AI help, but I research every child. Sometimes that means reading obituaries. Sometimes that means just researching the parents. And if there's any question, we will reach out to that person, but it is a safe, sacred place. You know that anyone in the group belongs in our group, and that's very, very important. If you'd like to invite someone to join the group, please don't just say, join Helping Parents Heal. Send them the link so that they can join and answer the questions, because we have safeguards set up. If the questions aren't answered, you're going to be rejected from the group after a certain period of time, and we won't even know that you want to join the group. So we're so fortunate to have, I believe it's 64 recommended providers that most Mark has they've gone through the certification process. And 6 of those members, that 6 of our providers are members of Helping Parents Heal Facebook. And the reason they are is because they themselves are shining light parents. You have to remember that they are a member of the group, but it won't impact if you have a reading with them, if they have a gallery reading, because we all know that the evidence is what proves that our children are still here. It's not what's on your Facebook profile. It's not something that you can Google. It's something that is personal between you and your loved one in spirit. So please remember that. When it comes for the gallery readings, we have a platform that people register to join these gallery meetings. Only Elizabeth and I have access to the platform. The 2 of us know who signs up when you sign up, and before the gallery reading begins, we cross-reference and cross-check to make sure everyone signed up for the reading is a member of Helping Parents Heal. So we're ensuring that anyone on the meeting should be on the meeting. We take the utmost responsibility for creating a safe, protected space for all of us to heal. And it is so important, so very important that everyone understand this. It's a tremendous amount of work for us. We have a few people that do help us with the admin work, but the majority of our day is spent making sure that Helping Parents Heal is a safe place to heal. I think that covers it, Elizabeth. I don't know if there's anything else. Oh, we have something that we also have put into practice. If you're joining a gallery reading, you must have a name as a profile when you sign in. You don't have to have your last name. We ask that you have your first name if you want an initial, just a first name. If anyone comes in as an iPhone or as a Zoom user, you'll stay in the waiting room. We'll message you and ask you to please change your name, and we can help you do that if you don't know how to do that. But we won't let anyone in unless we know that you are registered. We don't want people sharing links. We don't want anyone on the outside joining these sacred meetings. And if you join them, you see the evidence that comes through.
So this is all probably in response to me of that they seem to think that I am joining their groups or wanting to join their groups. I've said multiple times, I have no intention of ever joining Helping Parents Heal or having any fake personas or anything like that to get in and infiltrate the group. I am not, absolutely 1,000 times not interested in doing that, right? Other people probably wouldn't want to do that either. I can't even imagine what would benefit from that. What would we be trying to do? It's just not likely to happen. Okay, so we're not doing that. So she's put up, she's answering questions that are straw men. This is not something that is protecting their people by having people come into their groups. I'm not going to their live readings. I have never gone to one of their live readings because they put them up on YouTube. So I can just watch them at my convenience, whenever later. So that's not of importance. If they really wanted to protect their people, oh God, there's so many things they could do. But one very tiny thing they could do is before the people join the Zoom meeting, before the medium gets there, because once the medium's already there, then they can see the last name, is they can make everybody change their Zoom screen to a first name only, not a name like Fran. No, I'm only kidding. But, or, nobody put their last name on there, because if you have a hot reader, like what I keep talking about, Suzanne, all they need is just a little bit of information. They're going to pick the person on the screen that has an unusual last name, especially if it's hyphenated. Oh my gosh, hyphenated names, so easy to hot read. So, I mean, they could tell people, say, when you join the group, when you're going to join our call, do not change your Zoom screen name before you come into the room to just your first name or a nickname or something. And that'll protect against hot reading if they do it before the psychic gets there. Okay. Because it's super easy to take a screenshot. People haven't changed their names yet, and then the psychic can look at the screenshot, even if they change their names afterwards. So the protections they think they have up there are not protections that are going to help them at all, because these are all just, they don't understand what cold reading is at all. They absolutely seem to have no concept whatsoever of that. And this idea of looking people up on the internet because some skeptics say so. Well, yeah. Hello. Have you not been paying attention? I mean, if you guys are really interested in this kind of world, how this is done is out there. All of this, it's in books, it's in articles, it's in videos, it's on my channel, interviews, how this is done, how people are preying on grieving parents it's a thing. People are doing this. So we've exposed the methods, and you're not looking at the methods. So how are you protecting your organization and your very vulnerable clients who I am trying to help out? I'm trying to say these are vulnerable people, and they look to you guys to have vetted these people. And if the vetting you have is junior high level vetting, they have to be recommended by another parent who's had a reading. I mean, really? That's it? And they go through an interview process of what? Nobody's going to join your organization. I'm super glad that you're doing serious vetting by looking at people who want to join the organization to keep it a safe place. That's fantastic. Now do that for your psychic. Okay? You're doing the right thing. But the skeptics are not trying to join your organization. We are ethical people who care greatly about people who are being manipulated and people who are in grief. We care greatly about this. I don't know what you seem to think about us as a person. I'm a mother too. I am a human being that loves people, and I absolutely would never do anything like that. I have actual ethics. But if you think that we're just out there to stop this practice, well, it's an awful practice. What's happening to these vulnerable people? Again, I'm gonna let licensed professionals deal with that kind of that area first. But it's, to me, it's obvious, but you're not addressing what I have done with Suzanne, and with Thomas John, who again was associated with himself for a very long time with the Helping Parents Heal organization. I have screenshots. And then, as I said, with his scientific blinded reading that Brian Smith did of him, so awful. You got to check that out, you guys. But this is not, you're not addressing that. And then pretending that you've got some kind of code out there. You're protecting the chickens by not protecting the chickens, right? Like the foxes are already there. And you're like, it's like you're saying, hey, fox, you're not going to bother these people. You're not going to manipulate their grief, are you? No, that fox would never do that. Come on now. This is just, I'm really glad I'm watching this video. It's irritating me to heck. But I'm glad I'm watching this. Lots of information here. Okay. I'm really amazed at how credulous this is. It's just incredible. Incredible.
None of this evidence is, you can Google, or most of it, you can't find it on a Facebook profile. And I tell everyone, witnessing these validations is just simply amazing. And when one of us gets a validation, it's a validation for every one of us, knowing that our children are still here, that they're present. And they're always with us, always with us.
It is something. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
I was just going to say, so 58 of the 64 providers are not allowed to be members of our Facebook page. Yes. Therefore, they cannot access the event information. They don't know who's going to be on. So,
and Farah's one of them. She's playing
yeah.
herself.
Sorry, Farah.
She does not have a child in spirit, and so she's not a member. But some of the members who are mediums as well are huge parts of Helping Parents Heal, meaning that they're affiliate leaders or they're board members or both, because a lot of our parents become mediums through this whole process. They have never even thought about doing this before their child transitions. It's not something that they ever wanted to do, and I don't think that anybody necessarily ever wants to become a medium. But once you have a child in spirit, the only thing that you really want to be able to do is to communicate with that child and to know that they're happy, healthy, and whole. And being able to study to become a medium, even if you don't necessarily use that to do readings, is something that's very helpful to parents. There are so many different healing modalities that we talk about in Helping Parents Heal. Obviously, mediumship is one of them. There are many others like yoga, meditation, as well as Reiki. We have a lot of our.
Please don't start giving out medical help. Oh, please no. Reiki, that's whenever people lay down, usually lay down, and a healer comes over them and waves their hands above them. therapeutic touch. It's been debunked a bunch of times. It's scientifically been debunked. Like scientifically. I mean, look up therapeutic touch, and Linda Rosa and her daughter was a second grader, I think, and she made us an experiment at a science fair where the therapeutic touch practitioners who were certified, they're sitting on the other side, and she just put her hand through, with a roll of dice, my right hand, my left hand, or no hand, and the person was supposed to tell if their hand was there or not. It was in, I think it was in JAMA, where they produced they released information, this controlled test of showing that therapeutic touch doesn't work. So, okay. All right. Okay, so we've talked about this now. They're protecting against stuff that doesn't exist. No skeptic is doing this. Medical information. Please don't give medical information. Please do not advise these people. No. What? God, where do I go from here? As I talk about on my channel many times, that what happens with a lot of these mediums who are not popular, like I say, I don't know why not. If you can communicate with the dead, why are you not famous? I mean, you would be the most powerful person in the world. You would be able to do the most amazing things. Oh, here's where I was going. As I've been doing this a lot more in the last few years, one of the things I have noticed is that a lot of these mediums, even Suzanne Wilson, they don't make their money necessarily doing readings. What they're making their money is from mentorship, workshops, classes, books, Patreon, memberships, and that sort of thing. And so it's a safe way of making money, because you're not putting yourself in a position where you can be caught by somebody like myself, hot reading, cold reading, or whatever. So this has become something I've noticed. It's been going on a very long time. But what typically, and this is a typical example, is that a medium will tell somebody, you also are a healer, or you are a empath, or you are a medium, and everybody can become a medium. You just need lessons and mentorship and classes. And oddly enough, they're there to offer those classes and mentorship and so on to them for money. Thomas John, Matt Frazier. I can't think of anybody really who doesn't do this yet. And you'll see after you go to one of their shows, they'll have a website where you can go and, you can QR codes and so on to sign up for their classes, sign up for their leadership, sign up for their mentorship. They have these things where you can pay in for, $100, $500, $1,000, whatever. And you get a full year of like meeting with the medium once a month over Zoom, and they'll give you a reading, and then you have access to things beforehand. Their podcasts come out early. Lots of people do this. Influencers do this. People on YouTube, people on Substack. It's a thing, and it's not a problem, because we want people to pay for journalism. And, if you're reading content and you enjoy it and you want to give money to that person, okay, that's fine. But what we're seeing is that these mediums are trying to tell the sitters who are coming there, well-meaning people, you could save an awful lot of money if you were to learn to do mentor mediumship yourself of your son. You'll be able to just do it on your own, and I'll help you. No problem. I've got classes. You can come sign up for one of my classes. I'll teach you. Here's some books. I mean, there's thousands of books out there on this. And so it would be easy for them to be able to do this kind of thing. And Shazam, I just appeared with a sweater on. Sorry, everybody. I got a phone call, and then it got really cold. Okay, so where was I at? I don't remember where I was at. I think I'd finished my thought. So let's go back over here, and hopefully if there's something I meant to say, I apologize. And the cats keep coming in and wondering why I haven't come to feed them, but it's too early. I'm sending him a telepathic message.
Mediums who are also Reiki certified, who teach Reiki as well. We also have sound healing. I know that Andrea Curry is on here, and she has been at all of our conferences as well. And she volunteers her time every single month, but even more frequently than that, she has been giving up her 24th of December, every December, Christmas Eve, to do sound healing for us as well. She's up in Montreal in Canada, and she's a Shining Light mom of Chloe, and she's also an author. And in fact, the Toronto group in the very beginning was very close, and they met in front of a fireplace with Patty May being the facilitator. She was the affiliate leader. They told so many fascinating stories about their kids in spirit and the communication that they were having with them that Andrea ended up writing a book herself, not only about Chloe, which was the first book, but about these moms and about their experiences, and dads, in fact. In fact, we do have a very active Helping Fathers Heal group as well. I wanted to kind of go through the resources that we have on Helping Parents Heal, but I also, before I did, I wanted to maybe just have Farah say something about her own experience with Helping Parents Heal. And
Okay, before we get over to Farah and her experiences, so sound healing is what it sounds like. It is I believe they use there's different kinds of methods where they have glass with water in it and you run your hand over it. It's some sort of music, some sort of sound. And I guess you're supposed to lay down and you're supposed to relax, and you do focused breathing and maybe mantras or whatever. There's lots of ways of doing it. And it's supposed to be very relaxing, meditative. So in my mind, I'm thinking sound healing. That's a way of healing your, I guess, spirit, or calming down and slowing down. That sounds wonderful. I'm sure that's a wonderful way of healing. But now that I've been listening to what these people are saying, I would not be shocked if they thought that was actually healing, like somebody who's ill, like healing the illness. So I don't know. I'm just saying some of the other crazy things I've heard already. And I'm using that word as I was raised. It's just a word. I would not be shocked at this point if they thought there was, you go and you get healed, like wounds healed, cancer healed, epilepsy healed. I don't know if they're doing that. I'm just saying I wouldn't be shocked. All right, so let's hear from this, I guess it's the sound healer, who's written a few books about her kid who's just like right there. Okay, I can do this. Yeah, no problem.
the parents who are in Helping Parents Heal, because I think that one of the things that sets us apart from a lot of other friends that we may have going through this journey in life is that we really understand what's important in life. I think that when you have a child in spirit, you realize that the only thing that really counts is that we are in this journey to love each other and to be loved and to be able to help each other and to be helped. And so Farah is a huge shining light example of someone who helps others
I am
constantly.
the biggest crazy cheerleader that this organization will ever have. I don't come with a filter, you guys, and some people love that about me, and I love that about myself. But the one thing that I've seen over years is a lot of grief groups have such a focus on the passing and the pain. And, when one person's having a bad day, everybody else is like, yeah, today's crap. And, on some of these other platforms that I've seen, and it's just very doom and gloom and so heavy. And the opportunity to heal and the title Helping Parents Heal caught my ear, caught my eye, and Elizabeth actually stumbled across me at a yoga studio. Go figure. You will not see me doing yoga, just so we're clear. I can't lift a leg over anything much, but heaven brought Elizabeth and I together in really the beginning of me doing group readings for the public and her starting this foundation. And we're not the most likely pair of women to meet one another because I'm very tomboyish and Elizabeth is not, and I love her for that. She's so fancy, she can help me be pretty. But when I started going to the meetings for Helping Parents Heal and seeing the hope that these parents had to feel their children around and to know that their children continue on, that was such a profound difference from what I had seen in any other organization that I had written, articles. You guys, if you know me, you know that I write a lot of articles. I write a lot of poetry. Back then I was submitting articles for different grief platforms on Facebook, and the title would be Grief Blah. I don't know if we can mention them, but and I loved seeing the reaction of those people on those pages, because as doom and gloom as those pages were, when I posted something, it was lifting. But when I saw Helping Parents Heal, everything that they do is to lift and not to weigh us down. And I have such a profound drive to really support and love everybody in this organization and be so grateful for everything they do. These people work around the clock, nonstop, especially Irene and Elizabeth. Mark, you're amazing. And Mark is stretching in different directions with Helping Parents Heal and with all the amazing things that he does to really embrace the psychic side of the world and really help that scientific side of things too. So Mark is working in amazing directions also. But you guys, this organization has my heart because it is where you will find your people that will love and support you and lift you. And I am so grateful for the platform that you guys provide for people like us to reach the hearts of those who need it most. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And I just want to say that when Farah does gallery readings for parents at our meetings, and it's always such an amazing thing when she does this. Back in the very beginning, she always blew me away because she would be up at the front of the room barefoot, because she always does her readings barefoot, which makes complete sense because she grounds herself. But she would go directly to a person. She wouldn't throw out information. She would go to that person and she'd say, "I'm with you." Sometimes she would even kneel down in front of that person and just
Now
be
I have to
saying,
point to them from a stage because they have me stuck with a microphone, just so we know.
at the conference, it's more difficult to be able to do what she normally does, but it's pretty amazing because she's the type of person that will not take just any type of information from a parent. When she is giving them information, if she doesn't get back from them an affirmation of exactly what she's looking for, she'll say, "Nope, that's not, no." The parent will say, "Oh, it's that thing that I have hanging from my rear view mirror." And she'll say, "Nope, it's not that. No, 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 no. He's saying that it's something else." And it's so amazing to me because I think, oh, probably they're not going to be able to find it. She finds it.
No, they'll figure it out. My job is not to make it fit. My job is to prove to you that there's life after life. And that is a job that I hold near and dear to my heart. And so validation with specifics is so important to me because it could be the validation that you're missing that gives you that faith. And I will not let that happen. So, yeah.
And that is the thing that allows us to be able to put one foot in front of the other and to be able to continue on this earth journey for now. And it allows us to be able to realize that our kids are with us, holding our hands. They're our biggest cheerleaders, as I always say, and they will be with us all the way until we transition. And they're there waiting for us, the first ones that we're going to see when we do transition. And if we're lucky enough, we're going to see them while we're here too. And as I say, we do have quite a few parents who are studying to become mediums, who have become very, very good mediums as well. And this type of experience allows us to explore those other opportunities. Mark himself is now, I think he's even given a reading to Vera. I don't know if that's something that.
Well, I'm just playing around practicing.
Can I say one thing about that? Mark, am I allowed to talk about the one validation that blew my mind? Okay, so Mark asked me if he could, just really practice with me because he's trying to stay in a safe place and not work with people who are grieving, right? That's not the best place to start. And so I threw out a challenge to heaven before Mark called me he scheduled, and here's the thing, Mark and I are friends. Mark is on my personal Facebook page, right? So there's things that Mark knows about me, people that I've had transition, all of those things. I wasn't worried about if he's asking me if he can practice. I'm not worried if he's looking me up, right? That would be dumb if you're really truly looking on. And so I was talking to my daughter 2 days before I got on this call with Mark, and I was telling her that I had this upcoming reading that Mark was going to practice his validations. And so I was on my phone with my daughter, and I have a stepmom that I was not very fond of in life. But there was one thing, and so she's not somebody I've posted about on my Facebook page. There's no information about anything that I would have from her, nothing, right? Nothing out there about this one at all. She's actually not even in that book that I wrote. She would be my second stepmom. And so Mark gets on this call with me, and he's got a couple things written down before we start. They were kind of coming to him ahead of time, and he had jotted them down. And I said to my daughter 2 days before this, I said, she's going to have to come through with something first. I threw the challenge up to her, and I was like, look, you know what? You better come through first. And as Mark starts to read the first validation that he had written down, he said, cherry pie. Now, somebody on a mediumship side would go, God, I feel really stupid saying this because I'm starting this reading with Farrah Gibson and I'm saying cherry pie. It blew my mind because the only item that I have from that stepmom in the universe is a cherry pie porcelain pan that has the cherry pie freaking recipe. Oh yeah, there's a picture of it. Has the recipe for cherry pie printed in the damn pan.
She sent me this picture.
Shut up. And of course he's like, what? I said cherry pie. And he's feeling dumb in that moment, right? And it's really how I learned too. Like Mark learned in that moment, as stupid as it sounds, say it. Because it might be the most profound thing. It blew me away. I was like, shut up. I know exactly what that is. And I said, actually, we can move on from her. Go to the next. Because that's all I needed from her. And, but it's Mark, you did an amazing job with those validations, actually. But go ahead.
Thanks. Good practice for me.
Really wanted to explain.
I don't think these people have a clue what cold reading is. Whether they do it on purpose, a purposeful cold reader like Matt Fraser or Suzanne Northrup or some of the others that are purposely cold reading or not, you should understand this concept. Most mediums are cold reading. They keep mentioning, there's nothing I could have put on Facebook. There's no way. Look, guys, hot readers are rare. Most mediums do not hot read. So kind of knock it off because it's only showing how little you understand and that the only thing you're protecting yourselves from is a hot reading from a medium when you're not paying any attention to the concept of cold reading. And cold reading is very, sometimes it's so obvious and sometimes it's just subtle. And all over my channel, I hate to keep plugging my channel, but I know it's all over there. I have videos with examples where we slow it down and we show what cold reading looks like. This is an example of cold reading, and we know that it's an example of cold reading because of this. Now let's listen to it again and listen to it again. Okay, got it? Okay, now let's move on. Here's another example of cold reading and so on. I've got cold reading examples constantly all over my channel because it's so common and people don't realize what it is and they're not hearing it. They don't know what to listen for. They just think that cold reading is when somebody says, "Hey, I think your birthday's coming up," or "What's going on with the month of July?" And then people say, "Oh, well, I have a birthday in July," or "My brother has a birthday in July." Yeah, that's it. She's talking about July because it's your brother's birthday. Okay, that is a form of cold reading. It's actually very common. People just cannot see that that is cold reading. But I'm really glad I'm listening to this whole thing because it's obvious to me they have no idea what cold reading is. And they have no concept of it. They're not protecting themselves and their clientele from cold reading at all. This is just cherry pie, really. This is really beginning level stuff, okay? Whew, I should teach mediumship classes.
To everyone that it is something that's open to all of us. Obviously, Mark has a very famous father, but I don't think that he was ever interested in this at all before Brandon transitioned. And I think that that's the way that a lot of people are. I see that Rick has raised his hand, and I would love to be able to take your question, but beforehand, I just want to quickly hit the share button and show you our website because we have so many resources that people don't know anything about. And I think it's really important for people to understand that we're here for you in so many more ways than people even know. One of the things that I think is very important is that we have affiliate leaders all over the world, as Mark was saying. So we have a place on our website that lists all of our affiliate groups. It shows all of the Facebook groups that go with the affiliate groups. But also, another important thing is, so this is our homepage. It's just www.helpingparentsheal.org. So I think that it's important for you to, first of all, be able to see the homepage. This is a slider here. So you see Vera's on here. There's a lot of other people. But what I was going to say is that it talks about our conferences that we've had. Garth Brooks did our first conference opener. Obviously, Eric Clapton did as well. We feel so fortunate for that, and for Rick Wilcoxon, who is actually Lisa Wilcoxon's husband. Lisa is a medium, as you all know, and she is also a Shining Light parent. Rick has done these incredible videos for all of us. This is Rick carrying a chair all over Arizona to film our third Helping Parents Heal conference video. We've written several books, Life to Afterlife, Helping Parents Heal the book, which is after the documentary that came out by Craig McMahon. We have a Helping Fathers Heal book that was put together by Chris Ryan and has 20 different dads who talk about their own experiences. And Farah loves the dads, they love her. And then Shining Light Parents Speak, written by Dr. Mark Pitstick, who is one of our providers who is very, very frequently giving classes and doing meditations and answering our most important questions on our Facebook meetings. But more importantly, I think that, and so this is Chris Ryan, who did write that Helping Fathers Heal book. More importantly, if we go up to the navigation bar, we also have Caring Listeners, who were initially put together by Dr. Mark Pitstick. These Caring Listeners speak 11 different languages, and they are here for you. They're volunteers. They are parents just like us who have gone down the healing path and who reach a hand back to help others forward. This is Lynn Holohan, who organizes the Helping the Caring Listeners with Dr. Mark Pitstick. This is Dr. Mark Pitstick. That is my granddaughter who was born last week. So I'm sure that some of you are hearing her. So if you scroll down here, all of their numbers are on here, meaning that you can go ahead and give them a call. But before you do, if you could text them just to set up a time, that's so helpful. They're by alphabetical order. But it's important for all of you to understand that this is a resource that we feel is very important to be able to speak to someone. We explain about these parents as well, the way that their children have transitioned, even though we feel that any exit point is exactly the same. A lot of times people identify with other parents who have a child who's transitioned in the same way. It's kind of amazing to think that Mark and I came together with our two sons who had transitioned on a mountain. That was something that actually really drew us together. But there are so many different ways of transitioning, and again, they're all the same. We have our providers, and our providers don't include just our mediums. We also have therapists who are certified, meaning that they have MAs, PhDs, even in New Zealand, Dr. Lucy Hone, who works with us, as well as Adelaide, Australia. And then we also have spiritual teachers. I guess that Reverend Sue Frederick is one of the only ones that we really consider to be a spiritual teacher, who is actually also a medium, but she doesn't come to help us with mediumship. She works with us with numerology, and she is one of our most cherished providers. She's also a minister at Unity. And then we have our affiliate groups. And this is something that's really important to understand. We have the affiliate groups that are in the United States. We have them overseas as well. And then we also have Helping Siblings Heal, which is a group of siblings who also have brothers and sisters who are in spirit, and they hold meetings. They have their own Facebook group as well. Cody Brooks is actually holding meetings every single night of the week, and he is doing it just to be available for any kids who might need him. We ask that the siblings be 18 and above to be able to attend the Zoom meetings. And then we have our newsletters that come out every month. And this has been happening since 2014. All of them are archived. You can go back. But for instance, 2026, the last one was in February. Actually, we're in February right now. But if you click on the link, you'll be able to see any of these newsletters that have come out. We have columns in the newsletter, one by Susan and Bill Van Oij, written with Greg, called The Wisdom of Greg. We also have a column by Dr. Mark Pitstick, Evolved Souls Don't Need Long Earthly Experiences. And we talk about our new affiliate groups that are coming online. We talk about the different experiences in the affiliate groups as well.
Let's pause for just a second because got to catch my wind. Boy, this is an active group. These people are really, really, really getting a lot done. And yeah, okay. Lots of people all over the world, people with PhDs. And don't forget numerology, which is I'm serious, you guys. I don't need to say that much about this. It's if you're not sitting there watching this with your jaw dropped like I am. This is happening. This is 2026, and this is the kind of stuff that's going on in the world. You think it went out, in the 1980s and 1990s, maybe? No, this is still a thing, and these people believe it. Now they're not dumb people. They may be uninformed. How do I say? Willfully ignorant, because you would think you would have looked this up at some point and kind of learned about these things. But the skeptics and the science community, I guess, are evil or something. I don't know. Why would you not check into this? And you're reading, no, we can finish this. I'm gonna have to go to more of these events because these are great. I'm learning so much. Wow. Yeah.
And I don't think that I could ever go through all of the different resources that we have in one evening. We obviously have many YouTube videos, and the YouTube videos include a lot of experts from the afterlife community, including Dr. Raymond Moody, Dr. Eben Alexander, as well as Rob Schwartz, as well as Dr. Jeff O'Driscoll, Jeffrey Olson, lots of near-death experiencers, Dr. Mary Neal, and you can find all of these on our website. So if you scroll down, you'll be able to see Bill Guggenheim, for instance, who is no longer here on the earthly plane, but he was such a good friend to all of us while he was here and a huge supporter of Helping Parents Heal. He wrote Hello from Heaven with his wife, Judy. Obviously, we have Dr. Gary Schwartz as well. We have James Van Praagh, Gordon Smith, so many different experts that have been able to research about these after-death experiences that all of us are experiencing now that we have a child in spirit.
Did you catch it? Did you catch it? Did I call it? Dr. Gary Schwartz. James Van Praagh. James Van Praagh. Oh my God. I wonder if they're going to mention Tyler Henry and Thomas John and Matt Frazier and Teresa Caputo and John Edward. I mean, come on, you guys. Seriously?
And so if you are able to go to the website, you'll be able to find so many different interviews. I think that we have about 1,015 YouTube videos that are posted right now, as well as a calendar that tells you exactly when meetings are going to be taking place. So we have many meetings every single day of the week that are available. Some of them are in person, some of them are by Zoom, but certainly you're welcome to join the ones that are by Zoom. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing because we only have a few minutes left. And I know that we did have one question, and I'm not even sure if I don't see the hand up anymore. But if you do have questions, even if it isn't tonight, you can reach out to Irene, to Mark, to myself, and even to Farah, but not too much because she has so many emails that come in all the time. And I know that she would love to respond to you, but I know that she also has to be available for her own readings and everything else that she does. So I don't know.
It was Rick Martinez, I think, Elizabeth, that wanted to
Okay.
ask a question.
So I think it might have been for you. I think that the question was
Okay.
directed to you. So maybe we can get Rick. Irene, can you unmute
Sure.
him and ask?
Yes, he's unmuted and I'll spotlight him.
Thank
And it
you.
was an accident. I don't know how it happened. This is my first meeting. I don't know what happened. My spirit did it, I guess. I didn't do anything.
Okay, well, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank
We're
you.
glad that you're here, and please don't feel badly about having that accident. It's wonderful to see your beautiful face. So thank you for coming up on the screen with us. But
And please tell us the name of your child in spirit.
yes,
Mine, Karen Martinez.
Karen. Thank you.
thank you for sharing, Karen, with us. And again, these meetings are too short to be able to show and explain all of the different resources that we have available for you. But we wanted to give you an overview of what's available in Helping Parents Heal, and to also let you know, of course, we have our conferences every 2 years that Carly insisted that Irene had to put together. And so I followed and thought that it was going to be a crazy thing to do, but it's almost sold out now again, as it always sells out. So if you guys are interested in joining us, and the conference may seem expensive, but the cost is basically what we are having to pay the Sheraton, and they're the most fun ever. You guys will have a blast coming to this conference. Our kids are with us the whole time, and we just never and it's on sacred Native American land. It's at the Sheraton Wild Horse Pass, and it's beautiful there. So if you are interested in coming to join us in August, we would love to have you. If not, that's also fine. We're going to hopefully be streaming this conference as we have in the past. So that will be available as well. So you can join us by video, and we'd love to have you on there. And again, Irene, Mark, do you have things that you would like to say
Not
to
really. We just wanted to make sure that you knew not only what we have available for you, but how much we care about you and want to make sure that we're providing the best possible services and resources that are highly credible and effective. So if maybe you have time for one question, if anyone has one, you can put it in chat, but otherwise I think we're just about out of time.
Yes, and I think that
Okay.
everybody's just saying thank you in the chat box. So many people
Yeah.
are saying thank you, which is really sweet of everybody, because I also want to just give a huge shout out to all of our caring listeners and all of our affiliate leaders who are amazing, as well as all of our mediums, of course, like Farah, who give their time to us and who are so kind to do so because, first of all, I think it makes them feel good, but it also helps so many others. And Irene, I know that you might have something
No,
that you'd like to
just
say.
Elizabeth and I, Mark, we're always available. Any questions, concerns that you have, you can reach out. You know, we're not just a support group, we're really family. And
Yeah.
it's just so wonderful. I feel like all of the kids are my kids as well, and you're all my family. And it's just the most amazing group. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of it. Thank you.
Yeah, the conference is a love fest, pretty much.
It is a big love fest. I can't wait. It is, oh my gosh, it's just incredible.
And this is not an advertisement for the conference
No,
because we
no,
don't
it's
have a
not.
lot of space left. But if
There's
you
not a
do
lot of
want to
space
come,
left.
then please join us because we're not going to have any space left pretty quickly. But we definitely will be here for you online if not in person at the conference. And again, we're one big family. This is our family that we never ever believed that we would be a part of, but actually, I feel almost as though these people in this group are people that I talk to and I interact with even more than sometimes my own family. And I feel very strongly that this is the reason that I've healed. And I hope that it's something that will help all of you to be able to move forward and heal as well, knowing that you have people here that really care and that are going through the same experience, but who have gone through to the other side and are happy. Irene and we talk about it all the time. Mark as well. We just feel joy the way that we never thought we might be able to after having a child transition. Because first of all, we know that there's more, but second of all, we know that our kids are with us every single step of the way. So I hope that all of you will also feel that joy. And thank you again for joining us. We always ask everyone to unmute and say goodbye. And so you're welcome to do so.
Good
Thank
night,
you
everyone.
Thank
guys
you
very
very
much.
you.
much.
Love you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So
Thank you
much.
so much. Love you all.
Love
Love
you.
you guys.
Great,
Love you.
everybody. Thank you,
Thank you,
Farah.
Farah.
Good night. Thanks,
Of
Mark.
course.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Nice to see
Bye-bye.
everyone.
That was interesting. Okay, so I don't need to comment on what I think is going on. I think, like I said, let's leave this for people who are professionals. I'm actually pretty unnerved, but okay, so we've learned a lot. If you guys have managed to stay with me this whole time, more power to you. I hope that you guys will leave comments below. I want to have empathy for these people who are in grief. I understand, and yeah, it's not my worldview. I'm glad they're able to do this and they feel happy. I'll say no more. But yeah, okay. So yeah, comments below. Tell me what you guys think. I really, really want to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks, everyone.